Alright guys, glad you're able to join me once again. We should hopefully be finishing up the Adventure 1 here. I don't think we have too many turns left. The main thing, one of the questions I had from my last couple of games was, how do I get the timer going, or how do I keep track of that, since we're not using the regular Overlord cards. I'm using the invisible Overlord cards. Kind of threw me off as to how we were going to keep track of that. So when I posted that on YouTube, I actually did a couple people who was very helpful, and they gave me some information that we're just going to be using the regular Overlord deck for nothing other than to just do it's basically a tracker. So what I went and did was I wanted to figure out how many rounds I had gone in, and what I'd done is I'd counted up, because each time we play basically a round. There's, the first card for the invisible Overlord is drawn after the first hero takes his turn, and then after the second hero, after the third hero. And then it's basically the Overlord turns after the fourth hero. So the Overlord turn, he gets, he draws the 2 cards. So every round, 5 cards are leaving the invisible, or 5 cards are being drawn during the whole round for the invisible Overlord. So in all, I had, I believe, 20 cards. Crap. Let me mess that up. Okay, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so yeah, we've gone a total of 4 rounds since we began. And so what I did is I looked back in our adventure book here, and we know for Adventure 1 that we only had 12 command cards that the Overlord was going to be drawing, or have basically a hand of 12. So what I did was I went back and I drew my 12 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so this would be what a regular Overlord hand would be. And we all know that at the start of the game, the Overlord draws 3 cards for his starting hand. And then at the end of each Overlord turn, he draws 1 card to replenish his hand up. So we know we've had 4 rounds that we've gone. So I took the 3 and excluded those for the first, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. These would be the 4 cards that had already been drawn for each of the rounds. So those are already gone. So basically our timer now stands at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Overlord has 5 turns, and if we go through all these cards and I still haven't completed the objective, then the Overlord wins, which is one of the conditions is for Adventure 1. This is cripple one of the heroes, or stop the heroes from winning before the time runs out. So that's one of the Overlord's victory conditions. Okay, so we know we have that, and hopefully I got everything reset up here for myself. And what we were left with is the Overlord had just finished his turn. We had gotten, everybody's here close to the door. We only have one more knockout or break ward. I guess that's break ward on the door. It was a magical one. Oh no, it wasn't even a magical. I'm sorry. This is just a regular standard door. There's no magical ward on it. So just taking some hits, and so hopefully we should be getting through that pretty soon. During this round, I only have 1 bone piles left on the board. I have one archer, and the rest are warriors, and basically this warrior off to the side. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. It's going to be deciding who's going to be the first one to go. So this is going to be our most pressing issue right here, is we have a warrior here in front of us. However, I don't want to use my warrior to get him, because I need him for the door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to opt to go ahead and activate my ranger first. And this skeleton's actually outnumbered because he has 2 heroes in his front arc. So he can't get any less than the 2 dice that he's going to roll for his combat dice. That's the minimum. So we're going to actually be reducing his armor by 1. and so his armor is 2, so it's going to now be a 1. So that so he's only going to get to roll 1 dice for his defense. And my shooter here, the Elf Ranger, is going to get 4 dice for this attack. And again, any dice under a 1, I can't. Anything that's a 1, I have to discard. Okay, well, that was a terrible roll for me. As you can see, I got 3. And the looks like this couldn't have worked out any better for that stupid skeleton, because he just blocked it. So, all right, that's the end of the ranger, or the ranger. So we're gonna go ahead and flip our first overlord card, invisible overlord, and we do have an interrupt, and it's going to be activating with 1 model. They are going to be looking for the spellcaster and the weakest. So we only have 1 spellcaster, which is going to be our wizard, and he is right here by the door. And there's really the weakest is going to be those that are that have the most damage on them. A little sheet here. So the weakest is the hero that's currently the most wounds. So we're kind of, since we only have 1 wizard, it doesn't really matter, because that's the one they're going to go for, because everybody has 1 wound between the ranger, the fighter, and the wizard. So we're going to activate with 1 model. It's going to be the one. This is going to be an attack order, so it's going to be the one that can carry out this attack. None of them can move in closer, so the only one to carry out this attack order is going to be this one. So in order for him to do that, he's going to have to break away from them he's going to have to break away from them to get over to the wizard. So he's going to have to do a breakaway move. Let me look at that real quick, just to make sure I'm doing it right. So we're going to go to movement. I may have to break this time here to cut this, just so I can make sure I'm doing it right. Okay, so it's going to it's going to do a breakaway. It's going to come back here, but in order to do that, it's going to be the archer that's going to get a free strike against it. Okay, so it's going to get its 2 dice. I know it's not going to get its 2 dice because it's still in the front arc of 2 enemies. So it's going to be the same roll as before, and we're going to ignore any 1s. So we're going to ignore this one. So we've got a 6, a 3, and a 3. It could not defend against that one, so the free strike actually killed that one as it was trying to move out to get to the wizard. Okay, so that was actually good fortune on my part. The next one we have is we're going to activate, we're going to get that door open for sure, just so we can start clearing this path. So what we had on it was, it had a, we know we brought this down all the way to a 1, but it still gets, it has an armor of 3, and I totally did that wrong, guys. When you're breaking down a door, any amount of hits, I'll double check that, but any amount of hits, that door should be open already. Let's see, let's look at furniture, shooting, damage, magic, doors and chests may only be open locks. There are 2 types of locks, mundane. To do so here, must fight following the fighting rules. Mundane locks cannot be smashed by shooting or magical attacks. A single hit will smash the lock open. Okay, so that was my fault, guys. This was supposed to be, last time when I had dealt a blow and I brought it all the way down to 1, it didn't matter, because that means that door is now open. That's my mistake. What would that have done is it would have actually allowed us to see the last little stage here, and this is going to be here. It's going to be just like this. And what we have in this room is we actually have some enemies. And I think I can only have a max of 6 on the board. And right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be, I'm assuming, the closest ones to us. Okay, so it's going to be here. And then it'll be, is it that one closer? Okay. I think this one is going to be down on the outside closer. I believe that's right. Now we have some furniture to put in there as well. Okay, and then we have a door back here. So hopefully you guys can see that on the camera. And this one is a ward. So this one is going to be, needs to be broken down by the break ward by the wizard. So it's going to be very important to get him out of the fray so he doesn't die. And yeah, basically just to survive. So we know that's door X. So we know we need to make that our route to get through there. Okay, so where were we? So I was going to activate him. And that's probably still what I'm going to do, is I'm going to try to activate him and go up and hopefully kill that warrior there. So I'm going to move him up 6. 1, 2, and that puts them in the front arc of that skeleton. So we're going to go ahead and do our normal roll. He gets a combat dice of 4. Our skeleton archer only gets a combat dice of 2. And his armor is 1, so he's going to be a little bit lower armor than the other ones are. Okay, so this 1 goes away, so we rolled a 6, 5, and a 2. Skeleton didn't do too well. He rolled a 1 and a 2, so that means he took 3 points of damage, so he is now off the board. And so we're going to go flip our next card after the dwarf's turn. And it is not an interrupt, so we're going to go ahead and continue on. And with that, I'd like to try to see, so he's already gone there too. All I have left is my wizard and my barbarian, and I definitely want to move my barbarian if he's going to be my next one. So he's going to move up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to keep the pathway open, possible, and I'll put him right there. Okay, so that finishes him out. Then we'll go and flip our next card. And so it is not an interrupt, so we'll go ahead and continue on with our final one. And that is going to be our wizard. And our wizard can move 7, which is good. And what he wants to do is he wants to try to get up into that room to try to get that door open. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's final facing. And he should be in range for a break ward. A single magical ward in an adjacent square is reduced to strength by 1. When the ward strength reaches 0, it is broken. Okay, so we don't need line of sight, and it's range. Oh, I have to be adjacent to it, so I can't do that. We'll have to just use that for his next turn. Alright, so now we're in the Overlord turn. I have to, I guess, reshuffle these because I'm going to need to draw 2 cards. I only have 1 here. And then we'll see what's going to happen. And I know some of you actually watching kind of feel the same way I did a little bit about how these cards are working, but I feel like just make the best plays as possible. What you would think that you would do in a situation if you were the Overlord, that's kind of where I put my my thought is if it seems like it's dumb or something you wouldn't even do or wouldn't make sense for a game, just don't do it. You know, put yourself in the Overlord's place. Be like, if you were that, would that be the move you make? And okay, so this kind of helps guide a little bit, but hopefully I'm doing it as best as I can, and if not, then somebody else, hopefully in time, will correct me, and then I'll be much better educated. But for right now, I think we're doing okay, and I'll just continue doing that, and I continue doing some research online and making sure everything looks like it makes sense and that I'm doing it the right way. So, okay. Here's the first Overlord card, and we use this resolving the mission defined number, which is 3. Said it was on the card. And what they're going to go for is it's an attack, and they're going to be going for the unarmored or the weakest. The unarmored is armor of 1 or 2, and we have 2 of those that are an armor of 1 or 2. Oh, I'm sorry. We have 3 of those. The wizard, the barbarian, and the ranger, and also the weakest. So we have the ranger, barbarian, and the wizard. The weakest one right now is going to be the wizard because he's already injured. I believe that's the way it's going to work. So they're going to be going for the wizard. And as you know, we have one that can attack, or that can do that. So he is going to move in that place and do that. He's got a movement of 4. So 1, 2, 3. And he's actually going to be in the back. So that means that he is going to get my wizard is going to get -1 dice if the model's injured, -1 dice if he's outnumbered, and -1 dice if you're attacking the model from its rear arc. Okay, so I'm going to get 1 less die because he's attacking from the rear. However, see, my wizard, he can't roll anything less than 2 combat dice, which he's already at a 2. He's already in an armor of 1. So he can't get any weaker. So it doesn't really matter what I do. I can't roll any less than that. So I get 2 combat dice. The skeleton warriors also gets 2, and he'll have to discard anything that's a roll of 1. Looks like right now I'm not doing too good, guys. So here's what I rolled: a 3 and a 1. He rolled a 6 and a 4, so both of those hits got in, so that's another point of damage on me. So I have 3 left before I'm out of there, and the Overlord will win. Now I have 3 more, or 2 more to activate. None of them can get there, so I believe that the best thing I need to do is actually, if they can't carry out the attack order, they're supposed to default to the support. Supporters move models that are more than a single move from any hero towards the action. For magic users, this includes casting spells that are not attacks. For any undead, this includes casting raised dead. Now, it would be probably the best idea is to move these 2 warriors as close to the fight as we can get them. So they're going to move their 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was the best we could have done to get them up in the fight. Or did it say moving the furthest ones away? I might have done that wrong. They're more than a single move. Move models that are more than a single move from the hero towards the action. Okay, so I think we did what we were supposed to do on that. Alright, so that was the first card. The second card is going to be resolved using 2 models. And they're going to be surrounding. What is that? I don't know if I've ever done surround. Move to block all exits for the heroes, but without moving adjacent to them. Blocking exits means both physically by putting a model in the way, and also by having a front arc they cannot move through without stopping. Okay, again, I won't be able to get these guys. Have already moved. These are the only 2, so they're going to default to support because they can't do the surround action. So the only thing they can do is just move up their 4. They both have a movement of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that finishes out. That's my discard. That finishes out that. We're going to add another card to the Overlord stack. So I'm now down to, we only have 4 left at the end of the round. This is going to refresh. And nothing has been used as far as spells go. And what do I want to do first? I don't want the skeleton archer to get a breakaway action on me, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the barbarian first. He's going to move of 7. He's going to move over here. Can he move over there to the behind arc? Let's see. Can't move that piece of furniture, so it's going to be in the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to put him in the back arc of the skeleton, which means we're going to get to reduce that armor down to a 1. So this is a good opportunity to get that skeleton out of there. So 5 dice for my barbarian. He is a hard hitter. Only 2 dice for the skeleton. And I'm going to discard anything that has a 1. Okay, good. Feeling a little better. So 5, a 4, a 3, and a 3. His 5, my 5 was blocked. That still means a 4, a 3, and a 3 came in, thus reducing him to nothing. So he is finished. My barbarian has acted. And I'm going to go ahead and flip over our first card for this round. It is a non-interrupt, so we're just going to go ahead and carry on. I'm going to move my wizard 1. I'm now adjacent to the door, and I'm going to use my break ward. And this is a minor spell. And is there any other minor spells that I can cast? Because it's 2 minor spells that I can do. And what is crystallize? Crystallize is a minor spell as well, and that's caster creates an energy crystal. Roll 1 more dice to see what kind. Roll 1 dice to see what kind of energy crystal is created. So we're going to roll. We got a 3, so 1 power crystal. And these are the ones I used earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and take 1. So we've generated 1 power crystal, and that is going to be crystallized. It's right here. We've used that, and they're only going to be turned 45 degrees. 90 degrees. And that's going to finish out the wizard. We did bring this down to a ward of 1. Okay, so now we only have 1 more hit on the door, and we'll have broken through. And hopefully we've gotten our butts out of here. I think we're doing pretty good. That was the second, so I'm going to go ahead and flip the card. It is a no interrupt for the invisible overlord. And that means we go ahead and let's see, I have a good range on this guy. I can move all the way to here, to this spot, and still have range on him. So my ranger can move 8. So we'll move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't want to move any further than that because I would like to make sure to get good range on that skeleton. And he is going to roll 4 combat dice. And then the skeleton is going to get his normal 2. And we'll discard anything that's a 2 and less. So that takes this one out. So we got a 6, a 5, and a 3. And awesome. That means this one has been taken out as well. Alright, that finishes the ranger's turn, so we're going to flip our next card. It is not an interrupt card, so we'll continue on. The only one we have left is our dwarf fighter, and we're going to move him up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe that he gets a 6, but I don't want to move him any closer. And finish his turn out. That's going to now start the overlord turn. So we'll flip over our first of 2 cards. So we're going to use 3 models are going to be acting. They're going to be going after the armored and wounded. Armored is hero with 4 or 5 armor. I have 1, that is the dwarf. And so everything else is going to be negated after that. The order is to support. So the only thing we can do is we're going to move our 3 models up because that's all they can do. They're trying to get to the fight. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, our next one is 3. So I can't activate. They've already activated. I only have a pile of bones, so the only thing I can do is raise 1. So 1, 2, 3, it's a ranger. 4, 5, 6, it's a warrior. Okay. So we're going to replace that here. And that's going to finish that turnout for the Overlord. So that's the next card that's going to go over here. And then we refresh these up at the end of turn, and then everybody gets their tokens flipped. And now we pretty much finish this because all I need to do is cast Break Ward on the door, which is going to reduce it to a 0, which is going to open that. And then we'll see what happens next. Alright, so the heroes have won their first fight as a group, and their confidence is high. Madrika has retrieved an ancient and powerful heirloom artifact of her people. Denor has proven himself as capable as his tutors suspected, and Gordon and Orloff have been bound as only warriors who face death together can be. Time to move on. Alright guys, so that is Adventure 1. We have finished it. Maybe a little clunky at first, but you know, I just can't get things 100% right the first time. But we'll move on. No sense in going backwards. And hopefully Adventure 2 will be a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more efficient with the rules and how things play out. Kind of getting a better grasp on them, how it works. Again, I appreciate those who have stuck around and have watched these videos. I like getting them out there. I like playing. I love the suggestions you guys bring and any help with the rules or clarifications. I can't stress enough how valuable I find that, or how valuable it is to other people to get that information out there. So again, I appreciate it. Drop me some comments on the video. Let me know what you liked or disliked, or anything I can do in the future to improve things. Yeah. Thanks.